Okay, one of the items that I left out in the last video was clones, and that takes me in the topic of the attacks and how they go about attacking me. I left one off. But anyhow, the purpose of having a clone is they can make matters look like it's an easy way to exterminate someone with no telltale signs. So what's done externally to the clone will show. So say for instance, when the females get hateful and they want to mark up my face, that's the type of stuff that they do to this clone, and it actually manifests. And sometimes it comes from the laying of spirits. It just depends. Because when they physically put a mark on my face, it's normally like small round marks. I have some videos of it, and that's done with like a impulse tool. They point it like a laser beam and just, kind of burn the mark in. And then there's other times where they'll lay a spirit on my face, and it manifests in the form of something similar to a pimple, but it's much harder, and it stays and sticks around much longer. So there's many cases where I have a few marks on my face that last. My face hygiene is good, but these marks last. Say for instance, like the ones over here, those have been here for months. I drink water that has a high pH, and I just have a healthy diet, and I walk a lot. So there's no reason why my face shouldn't heal like it normally is, but ever since this stuff has started to come to a head, stuff like that is sticking around. Somehow they're managing to keep it from healing at the moment. But, so that's the stuff that's done externally. Things that are done internally cannot be detected. So that takes me back to that whole thing I was talking about with the heart in one of the other videos, when they're trying to get you to, when they do things to initiate a self-induced heart attack, stuff like that won't show up because it's not the physical heart, the one that I keep on my body. If I were to go to the hospital, nothing comes up. It looks like a natural cause, but that's the furthest thing that it's from. It just isn't showing on my physical body, but the clone's heart would probably be tore up. It supports the theory of natural cause. These are some of the things that I go through, or I've been through. Some of them have ceased because most of the time how I get the attacks to stop is either I put the information out there about it or I fight them back. But because this is their biggest target and they're my biggest weapon against them, spiritual warfare, visualization, accuracy in that way, that's what they target the most. So one or two ways, that's how I get the attacks to stop. So as you can see, back in April, they were squeezing my head, and it was bad. It was really bad, and that was before I brushed up real good on my spiritual warfare. Actually around the same time, because that was right around the time that I was returning from California from everything happening. Equilibrium, that's an ongoing thing. Like, it stopped for months, but now it's back. What they do is anytime that I stay in the house for more than 2 days, if I stay at home for more than 2 days, they do stuff like that, just kind of, push and try to throw my equilibrium off. Teeth. I have a missing tooth, but something else that they did at the end of the month is they kind of put a spirit on my teeth. And I'm going to put these pictures somewhere else so you can make sure you see it. And this is what it looked like. Now, as you can see, the date associated with this is October 31st. And that's at 2:14, I believe. Yeah, 2:14. Okay, just moments later after I went off and combated this, I hope my tooth is not showing in this video. But just moments later after I went off. Now this video is taken just moments apart. Or hours apart, moments. And it was coming off already. So anyhow, that's gone. They put it on. I went off. They took it off. Core. My core is something that they target a lot. I told you the gut is a big one to them. They lay a lot of spirits there. And that's where the reptiles come in to try and do their dirty work, because that's where, if they had any chance of getting disease or ailments to manifest, that's where it would be. And that's on all human beings. But another thing about the core is they try to weaken it. It's also one of my strongest areas, one of the strongest parts on my body. So there's times when they were laying all these spirits on me, the thing is they try to drain your energy and keep you in bed. So when this is going on, they can't believe how I'm able to get out of bed. It pisses them off. So they target my core. Like I said, my brain, that's a problem. Them targeting my brain is a big problem, because the stories for that could go on for days. I'm going to write books about that. Nasal passage, that's ongoing. They couldn't stand just everything and anything about my body, my makeup. They could not stand it. If it worked perfectly fine, they tried to they'll put a spirit on it, try and, lock it up in any way that they can. So that's kind of what goes on with the nasal passage. But mainly when, I don't know, it's not so bad. I can get that stuff off. All of this stuff I can get off. It's just spirits. So the more spiritual warfare you do, the more you cleanse your your energy centers and stuff like that, you can get all this mess off. That's all it is. But body temperature, that's ongoing. There's times where they try to make me overheat, get really hot. There's times where they try to make me really cold. Just anything to keep me uncomfortable. Vision. I had an eye doctor appointment in July. I'm sorry, I was listening to what they were saying right now. One of their big wigs is plotting against me. But vision, I had an appointment in July. I got a new prescription for my eyeglasses, which wasn't really too much of a big difference, but definitely an improvement from the glasses that I had. No sooner than I left and got that appointment out the way, because they've been wanting to target and do stuff to my eyes for the longest. They reverted my vision. So they decreased my vision, my actual vision. It reverted in a way back to its normal state. So I see the same out of these lenses as I would in my old ones. Bile. That's a big problem, because I've managed to have ideal bowel movements, and they do everything they can to mess my stomach up in that way. And it's pretty frustrating, because when you're eating right and exercising right, and you've never had a problem in that area, and then these people come along and start doing stuff like that, it pisses you off really bad. So I throw a fit about my bowel movements all the time. But there's so many spirits on me that's one of those things. No sooner than, like I said, the enemy has all the rules to my playbook. I'm under 24-hour surveillance. So no sooner than I get all this stuff off, they're easily working to put it back on. Marks on face. I've touched on that already. Whelps. Those normally appear. They were appearing in the beginning, and they slowed down during the month, like between, I don't know, probably, the month of August. Is when they slowed down, and then it picked back up for just a short time. But those normally appear when I cast off one of the reptiles. They always leave, and when they leave ugly marks. Smothering. That's a problem, and it's ongoing. They do that to me. I witnessed them do it to a relative. And the worst part about it is she's not able to understand how it's possible. And she's not in a position where she wants to understand how it's possible. So it's unfortunate. because she's being tortured in a way that she really doesn't have to be tortured. Drowning. That only happened on one occasion, and that was during a fast where they tried to drown the clone. Prayer manipulation. They use this clone for prayer manipulation and sexual favor. So I do feel them raping the clone, which is a problem. I keep them off of me as much as possible, but I do feel them attempting to have sex with an image of me. Prayer manipulation. Yeah, they when I pray, when I'm not praying in the spirit, they take my prayer and they try to reverse it, and they take that and they carry it to their gods. That's why I said that when you're under attack, you have to be, even when you're not under attack, it's best to be very specific about who you're praying to, because while you're praying to God, the enemy, the adversary, they have God. So they're snatching and interfering with all your prayers. You're thinking they're going up and they're going straight down. So prayer manipulation, sexual flavors. What else do they do that's pretty sinister? That's their way of getting their approving authority to think that I'm okay with things that I would never agree to. So meanwhile, I'm fighting them every day. When they go to their people and their people ask them what's the status, they're not wanting to see the footage. They don't want to see any of the footage. They're just going by whatever these people show them, and they can manipulate a lot of things. So sedate and wake. They both try to keep me asleep when they think I'm going to have a productive day, and wake me to keep me from getting sleep. And those are both problems. They're both big problems.